This episode is brought to you by Ardan Labs Education. Sign up today to learn advanced concepts in Go, Docker, Kubernetes, Terraform, and more. Visit ardanlabs.com/education for more information.
Welcome to the Ardan Labs podcast, our special, and I mean very special guest today is Rita. I'm going to say this, Iglesias. I know. My wife's Colombian. You would think at some point I could speak a little bit of Spanish, Rita, but you know, I don't know about that. I feel like I have this Irish tongue and it just doesn't want to cooperate at all with Spanish. So I do my best, but I appreciate you being here, Rita, and giving us some time. Um, you somehow ended up on my Twitter timeline and started following you because you have a nice feed. And I thought everybody's got to know who Rita is. So thank you for hanging out with us today.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm so excited. And I have to say that for me was a surprise when the first time you put a comment on one of my videos because I was doing the Ardan Lab, the Go course, and I was like, this is my teacher. And it's like, oh, I'm so excited.
The world is small, isn't it? Twitter makes the world super small. So yeah, it's funny. All right, so a couple things here. This is a podcast about you. We're going to get to kind of learn your story as we go. But let's start with you giving everybody the 2 minute, I call it the 2 minute elevator pitch on what you're doing today. What are you doing today, Rita?
Today, because my story is not very conventional, but today, well, my name is Rita. I'm 32 years old, and I'm based in Spain, in the south of Spain, in Sevilla. And right now, I'm a software engineer currently working at Topi. It's a mm, startup based in Berlin. And I also do fun videos at Instagram and, well, Twitter are everywhere. And this is mainly everything. This is me.
So at Topi, what is it? Are you coding? I guess you're working in Go because you're watching some Go video, but like primarily what's your day-to-day sort of tech stack?
Well, my day to day is kind of, there is a lot of variety because they let me do whatever I want. And this is something that I love. Yes.
Wow.
And I meaning, let's explain that. In my first job at tech was as a front end engineer, and here we don't make this distinction between front end and back end. We are all like product engineers. So whatever you need to do it. So right now I'm working in the front end with React and TypeScript, and that is something that I already did in my last job, and in the back end with Go, and sometimes I touch some infrastructure with Terraform, but I've like kind of I'm making up everything a little bit, but I'm learning. So this is something that I love to work at Topi, that they give us this trust to let you touch whatever you want and learn, and this is my thing.
Okay, so do you prefer, because I hate front end. I can't do it. I I had to do a little CSS yesterday and I wanted to just scream at the industry. I'm like, you all get what you deserve, whoever built this tech. This CSS is like, if I could code an entire website in just HTML with no JavaScript or CSS, I would. Though I heard XHTML is trying to get me there. So not a fan of front end. My wife has learned front end, so I can lean on her now. But what do you prefer, right? Are you just like both? Like,
um to be honest, I I'm like a very motivated person, so I love everything in general. It's like for me, it's super easy to be curious about things. But when I started to learn programming, I started with Python and mainly the basics, the fundamentals of computing. So I didn't touch front end or was mainly back end. But my first job was as a front ender because was the job that I found. That's it. And I learned practicing in my daily day basis. But I have to say that I have more experience in the front end in years, but I think that back end is healthier. I mean, for me, I feel that I have everything more under control. I can test everything. Things are not changing so fast as in the front end because in the front end, sometimes I have bugs that are like nobody knows what's going on. Maybe it's a weird version of I don't know, Firefox. Yeah, it's like there are so many things that can mess up everything. There is very, very, very hard. For me, it's hard, but it's fun.
It's the event driven. It's like somebody says add another button, and I'm like, no, that just adds to complexity for my brain. And then you think you've got the code organized. You're like, oh yeah, I've wrangled this complexity, yeah. And then they add one more button, and it all go. I don't want to do that. I've aged out.
Yeah, and handle the complexity and the make like, for example, in React, I'm talking like reusable components and don't repeat yourself and all of these things. At the very beginning, it's like, oh, it's easy, yes, yes. But when the project keeps growing, it's like, oh my god, it's front end is hard.
Hard,
It's very complex.
hard, hard. And it's amazing to me that if you're going to go to a boot camp, they're going to be teaching you all the front end stuff, right? I think mainly, maybe because of the visualization. It's really hard to learn computing without some visualization.
Yeah, when I started. For me, it was like I started with this course. I think it's by Rice University, or I don't remember, but it's Fundamentals of Computing. So I passed from being an actress to study algorithmic thinking. You know what I mean? Like it was so deep, and I was like, these symbols because I didn't study maths, and I was these symbols. What this symbol means? Looking in Google, and when I arrived in my first job, the first day, the girl that was well guiding me.
Don't tell me too much though, because I want to
Okay,
get
okay,
there.
okay, okay.
And you've kind of opened a door here, which is super interesting. Um, but I'm going to stop you. I'm sorry, everybody that's listening. I'm stopping it right now because I got to get to where we got to get to that point in the story. So you grew up in Spain. That's where you went to school. That's where you still are. Which means so the next question I want to ask is how old were you? Kind of told us your age, right? But how old were you when you were just finishing grade school, like right, that last year before college? That would have made you like 17, like not how old you. What year was it when you sort of graduated grade school, right before you would have went to university?
I started university at 2010, so I guess, but I have a 1 year in the middle, not because I wanted, I have to say, but
We're gonna get there. All right, so I'm gonna call that 2009 is kind of when you were 17,
9
18
or
years old.
8, yeah.
Okay, eight, nine. That's just I asked that question to set up kind of where the world was in terms of tech, 2008 or nine. Okay. All right. Here's the first question. Clear your head. Do not think too hard. Do not think too hard. Okay. First memory comes into your mind of you working on a computer. Very first memory pops into your head.
Well, maybe not working because I'm not this kind of dev that I was developing when I was 8 years old. No, this is not me. But at fact, in fact I didn't know that I will love computing, so or programming. So, but I remember we had a computer when I was since I remember, because my father bought one, and it was at that time was super super weird to have a personal computer, and I was 5 years old, and I remember the was MS DOS is in English, MS DOS. I remember to put like being super super down and put C colon slash slash game and put one Mickey Mouse game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
knew the commands. So for a 5 years old girl,
Yeah, you
this
knew how to get
was
that game started. And
I was a hacker.
your dad knew that you were hacking on the computer at 5? Was he there? And he's like, "Don't touch this without me being here."
Yeah, my dad let me do whatever. Yeah, it's true that my parents, we live in a very small place, like in the middle of nowhere in the north of Spain, because I was born on the north. And this was like a mountain and four houses. That's it. This kind of place, like very, very nowhere. And for example, when I went to play, until the sun was up, everything was okay. And I was alone wherever, and nobody cares. It's like there was no cars, and no nothing. It's like a very middle of nowhere place. So yeah, for me it's like they let me do late they let me explore a lot, and this is something that I love about the way that they raised me up.
Were you far away from the next city? Like, what did your parents do for work that you lived in this really rural area?
I think that the biggest city was like 40 minutes, but here in Spain 40 minutes is a lot. It's not like in the US that everything is far away. I have this information. But yeah, here is like 40 minutes. But we were there because my mom is a teacher. And in Spain, a long time ago, when you is a public teacher from a public school, so the government tells you, okay, this is your school, and you need to go there. So
Oh.
they let you borrow you borrow or lend you, I don't know, a house, so you can live there paying less rent, because you need to be
Ah,
there. It's
okay.
mandatory. Yeah, so we were there like in the middle of nowhere, but it was fun
How many
because
kids? How many kids in the school? Was it one school from like the 6-year-olds to the 18-year-olds since it was so small?
yeah, the thing is there, the kids go into a bus, and like a lot of kids from a lot of places go to the same school, so it was not very small. But it's true that, for example, the kids that were near to my house, like my friends, I have two friends. you know
Yeah,
because
yeah. There's nobody
no
else.
more options. Yeah.
You can't get into fights because there's nobody else to go hang out with.
Yeah, and I was like, since I was young, I love to see series and films and these kind of things. And I'm very curious. So I was always like, I want to live in a big city and discover yeah, I have this feeling. And I always say that when I grow up, I want to live in a New York loft as an artist.
Why not?
I don't know why, but this was stuck in my head that I want to live in New York.
Don't we all want a loft in New York?
Yeah, I think that you always want the thing that you don't have. So the very opposite.
So let's talk about like those last 4 years of school. You're like 14, 15, 16, 17. What other things were you interested in, or were you able to do? Like, I mean, was there sports? Maybe it was drama because I heard already you were an actress. Like, what was occupying your time other than schoolwork and friends?
Well, when I was really, really young, I had to say that I love to do everything, like sports, and I was always into something and very, very focused in so many things. But I think that if I had to highlight something, it's music, because I studied at school music. I play violin, and I started when I was 18, so 10 years of music school. I think it's it's time. And also, yeah, theater. Like, but this was in at high school.
I have a sad violin story.
Yeah.
I was like in elementary school. Maybe it was like fifth or sixth grade. I don't know how old you are then. I was always, I mean, I still am tiny, but I was really tiny when I was a kid, and I wanted to play the violin, and so I don't know, whatever. They put me on stage, and the teacher basically said my either my hands or my arms, everything was too short. Like I wouldn't be
Oh.
able to play because I was too small, and I was just like so depressed, at that moment. I was just like, ah, I remember that. God, I can't believe you just pulled that memory out of my head. I was too small to play the violin at the time I wanted to play it.
But there is the small violins, like, for kids, but
I,
not
I guess
not
school
small
didn't have them.
enough.
Not small enough. That's how small I was.
I had
Man,
a very sad story about violin too that I just remember. Oh my
okay.
god, this it's so embarrassing. My first When you play violin and in a school music, you have like concerts. Every year you need to play in front of an audience. Okay. So my first concert, I was 8. I don't know how could I overcome this. I forgot the paper with the notes, the partiture, or I don't know.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I was there, and my teacher was, well, mm, you need to
You gotta
play,
play.
you need to play, and
Oh no.
I started to play, and I didn't remind the notes, so I just started playing whatever,
And the
and
teacher was just,
the teacher was like, because I was so young that it's like, poor girl, nobody cares.
oh my goodness. You couldn't,
Yeah, but
I
I
would have
remember like,
cheated. I would have. So wait, was your sheet music not the same as the person next to you? Or you're the only violin? Oh
no,
man.
but I was playing with a piano, so the piano was playing the real thing, and I was just making it up,
Oh.
everything. Yeah,
So
but
you see, we
this,
have we have something in common. We have sad violin stories.
yeah, but well, I think this is my superpower. If I don't know how
Okay,
to do something, I just make it up.
make it up. And nobody knows anyway. That's right. Nobody in the audience knew you were making it up because it sounded so good, right?
Yeah,
Oh
maybe
wow.
they just thought that I was terrible.
Oh
But
man.
well, I
Fake it,
was 8 years old, so
fake it till you make it. That's it right there. There's the story.
oh my god. I think I never
So
tell
go on,
anyone
go on.
this
No,
story. You're the first
go on.
person.
Nice. Because I see if you're watching the YouTube, I see the guitars in the background. So that's kind of cool. So then I guess at some point you switched to guitar because is it just cooler or?
No, the guitars are from my boyfriend because he's like singer and
Oh,
plays guitar. Yeah, we
okay,
played
okay.
together before being together.
Gotcha.
And this is mine. This is a bass because I wanted to learn bass. I
Nice.
didn't manage to do it yet,
Yeah, yeah. Fake it
yet.
till you make it.
Maybe in the
When's
future.
the? So if I handed you a violin right now, would you be able to start playing some music on it? You think you remember any of it?
To be honest, right now, since I became a developer, I didn't play because I don't have time. I don't have time, and I feel that I can play, but for me, it's first when I stop like playing in the music school, like seriously, you started to lose all your technique, and when you try to play again, you feel super frustrated because you feel that your fingers are not working as before. So it's like, oh, why I cannot do this.
I bet you in like 2 hours, you'd have it all back. It would all come back to you. Like, you just need 2 hours of muscle memory and you'd be set. All right. Since your boyfriend's going to be listening to this, you got to buy her a violin. All right. Buy her a violin. And so she can start practicing again because I want to hear and play them like learn how to play it like the Irish. So it turns into like a fiddle. And then it'll be like a lot of fun. That's what you have to do. Irish fiddles. I hear an Irish fiddle and my body immediately wants a glass of whiskey. It could be like 8 in the morning, and I look at my wife and I'm like, I don't know what it is with this Irish fiddle, but it like hits nerves in my DNA somewhere, and I want to have a drink. All right, let's get back. Let's get back here. So you're about to graduate from high school, and you've got to decide what you're doing next. So what's going on there in your head as you're about to be old enough to leave this small little town and go on the next step of your journey? What are your options?
Well, I have to say that I only had one option since I remember. Like, I wanted to be an actress since I remember. Like, I want to do this, and I want to be an artist, and I want to act. And for me, it wasn't another option. And I had to say that I had good grades in general, but I was better at scientific subjects like maths. I was super good at maths and physics and these kind of things, better than literature and other artistic things. But I was like, I want to be an actress. And yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I had like a teacher that tried to convince me.
But wait. But thinking back, at least now, where do you think that came from? Where did that idea get into your head that you wanted to be an actress?
I don't know. My parents are not musicians, n- neither artists, but they tell us a lot of about art and music. So maybe in my house, being an artist, it was like the cool thing. I don't know. My sister, I have a sister, is a painter. So he studied arts like visual arts. So maybe he's my, I was the youngest. So maybe I see her and I was like, I want to be like her. I don't know. I'm not sure.
It's not like movie stars are famous and have a lot of money kind of thing. It may have been more like everybody's into the arts, so I have to be into the arts too to be.
Yeah, and I think that since I was a child, I love to put costumes and like be another. It's like you can be whoever you want. And this is so funny. And I'm a very active and passionate person. So I was like, okay, now it's like playing all your life. You can be playing all your life.
Are you good at memorizing? Because that's the one thing that would hold me back. I cannot retain. Like, I have some things from high school I still have in my head, but when I'm doing my classes or I'm giving a talk, it's all on the fly because I just can't memorize anything like that. I find that super interesting. You didn't have a hard time memorizing like an hour worth of script?
No, I think that memorization is kind of muscle. Like you need to practice and you will get better. At least for me. When I was with my theater company, we made like one show per week between September and June. So this period of time I was better memorizing things. And if I try to memorize something in summer, I was worse. So I think that when you are like continue, like in your day to day basis doing that is kind of a muscle. I think that. But I have to say that I'm good at memorizing things in general.
Yeah, I have the 12-year-old who is like, they say an elephant has like an enormous, like, she doesn't forget anything. She'll throw something at me. She'll throw something at me from like 3 years ago, and then verbatim, word for word, throw at me what I said. Like that to me is a superpower. It's mind blowing. I don't have that.
Yeah, but I think it's kind of selective because for me, I can remember sentences. Like if you told me something, I can remember the exact words. For me, this is easy, but I will not be able to remember your name, for example. There are things that I cannot remember. Names or yeah, and famous actors' names is like, I don't know who is this person. My brain thinks this is not useful, so let it go.
I always say my brain is full at this point. It's got all the ghost stuff in it. It's got no more room for anything else.
Maybe this is a good explanation.
All right, so you're graduating. You want to become an actress. So where do you go?
Well, I at this moment was when I moved to the south of Spain because I just wanted to study it somewhere else. I wanted to go, explore other places. And also because I wanted to study acting in Spanish. And when I was born, we are bilingual, we have two languages. And in the public school, mainly is the other language. So as I talk more in Spanish, I prefer to do it like acting in Spanish. So I moved to the south. Well, there is something important here. I studied like there are two paths that you can take before university. That are the last 2 years you can go or the scientific path or the social path that is kind of something in the middle, and literature and arts. But I didn't want to study Greek. I was like, no, this is not gonna happen.
No, no, no.
So yeah, I just wanted to pass these 2 years, as soon as possible. So to start, because in my head, I was all the high school years like, okay, keep going, and you will arrive in acting. That is the thing that you want to do it. And I studied socials that has maths, but not very complicated maths. And when the time comes, I have, if you want to study arts like acting, performing arts, you need to do a special exam. It's not enough with being graduate at high school. You need to do like a specific exam, and you need to play and blah, 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 blah. And I failed for the
Ooh.
first time in my life. I was the typical girl that with A's. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
super
yeah.
good grades. And suddenly, after 18 years waiting for that moment, I failed and they
Was
reject
this a
me.
this was a this had to be not a paper test, right? It had to be like you were on stage doing stuff or something. Test.
It was
Yeah.
a paper. The paper, I passed the paper, the theoretical part,
The
but
written
not,
the written
yeah,
stuff.
but not the important one. And I was like, oh, this was, I was devastated because for me it was like I was waiting for that for so many years, and this is the
Yeah.
thing that I want to do, and maybe it's not my thing. I'm thinking about it and I'm shaking. You know what I mean? Like for me,
Yeah, yeah.
this year
Yeah.
was devastating.
You didn't really have a plan B because this is what you were going to do. You've never this has never happened to you before, so
There was no plan B.
no, there's no plan B. So what do you do? Like give yourself a week to like, you know, get over it and then
Well, I cry a lot, of course. And after that, I talked to my parents and I moved out from my house to the city that was, because I was also excited to move out from my house, and to be in a new place and live alone in my first apartment and all of these kind of things. And I moved to a city that is, well, 30 minutes more or less closer from my parents.
Did you have a job when you moved? Did you have a job to pay for that?
Not the very beginning, but I found one and I lost it too. Well, too many details. So
But when you
I'm
decided to move out of your parents' house to go south to do the acting, you had to get a place. You need money for that.
Yeah, but my parents, because here university is, well, public university is almost free. Like, is I think that performing arts the first year is 600 the entire year. That's it. It's not. It's going to the university is not like in the US that it is a huge thing and you need to pay for that. It's more affordable. But this year, I think my parents were so sad for me because this was like a slap in my
Yeah,
face.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah, so they told me like, okay, you can go there, you can share an apartment, and we will pay for that, don't worry. They pay me like the only the apartment and food, and that's it. And I spent this year in a theater school, like preparing myself to the next year to try again, because you
Okay,
can
that's fair.
try, yeah, 3 times. So I was like, I want to try. And this was a very good, very weird year, to be honest. And the year before I presented to this exam again, there in the place where I failed, and in the south of Spain, because the first time was only in the north, was not in the south. And the second year I passed, but in the two places. And I was like, north of Spain, not today, not for you.
So you just needed a little bit of training, that was all.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
that you didn't that you hadn't gotten. I mean, but that's fair. I mean, when you look back on it. But I'm sure during that year when you went to the theater school, you started realizing what you did wrong at the interview, right?
yeah. And there is a lot of things that you don't know about acting before acting. There are so many prejudices, and when you are not trained, I think people in general don't know anything about acting. And when I started, in fact, when I started it at the university, study performance arts, I realized, oh my god, I didn't have any idea about what is this really about.
But you got into the school, you got in, and you started your I guess this is a degree in performing art. Did you finish that degree? You got all the
Yes,
way through it? Wow.
4 years.
4 years. But it can't
Yes.
just be acting. It's got to be a whole mix of different things, right?
Yeah, there are a lot of subjects, like you need to train your voice, mm, you need to sing, you need to dance, you need to study literature, how to write theater or drama or whatever, like history. So there are a lot of things, but mainly practical things related with your body, your voice, and your emotions, because at the end you are playing with your emotions. And yeah, my teachers always told me like, you cannot rational, because they yeah, they told me that I'm very rational, and okay, I'm a scientific person. So it's weird because when I was acting I was very too rational, and now that I am in the scientific part I'm too emotional, and it's like, okay, I'm something in the middle.
That's super interesting. That's super interesting. Yeah, I get called out at that at home sometimes. Like, you're being too intellectual. Like, this is an emotional situation, right? And I'm just like, I don't feel emotion here. Do you watch The Big Bang Theory? You ever see The Big
Yeah.
Bang Theory? So we have a new thing in the house now. When somebody's getting overly intellectual, we just say, "Okay, Sheldon." That's what we just say to the person. "Okay, Sheldon," and it just kind of stops it right
Love
there. So it's like you're being Sheldon, right? When you're supposed to be Penny
Yeah,
at some
among
point.
actors, I was Sheldon, and
Yeah,
among programmers, I'm Penny. I don't know.
it's wild. But
Yeah, but I
I
think
get it.
I found very interesting that in when you started performing arts and acting, you learn how to like being vulnerable and showing your true self because we have like a lot of shields, you know what I mean? And I think that this kind of well, and managing your emotions. That for if you want to think well, managing your emotions is like the first thing that you need to do. Because when you are like, for example, when you feel anxiety, you are blocked and you cannot think. So for me, I think that studying acting was very helpful to study programming, in fact, because I did it on my own, so I had to deal with a lot of frustration. You know what I mean? So
It took me, I I would say, it probably took me 30 years to start recognizing when I was getting overly emotional. Like to me, that's the first step in being able to identify you're not in a good headspace right now. You're about to say and do irrational things. So shut it down, right? And even today, every once in a while, I start saying that and I ignore it because I'm so overly emotional. I don't care. I want to self destruct, right? But that's kind of like the first step in being able to just identify that you're in this headspace, which is not healthy. But I guess acting kind of teaches you that a little bit. Wow.
yeah, because you learn to understand what are you feeling and to change that. There is a talk about that. Like it's David Rock, I guess. He's a very famous guy that has a paper. Is managing with the brain in mind, and he talks about how you can manage people in the tech industry, like understanding how your brain works. And he talks about a lot about how to deal with emotions, and how to, if you have like a very strong emotion in your brain, you don't have enough resources to think. So it's like it's not possible, or to have insights. So the good ideas and the insights came from when you are relaxed and you are flowing, you know. So I think, yeah.
I got to find that for the show notes. Yeah, we got to find that. Okay, so you graduate. You are now officially a certified, right, degreed actress. Here we are. So you're gonna go to Hollywood, yeah? No, what happens
Yeah,
next?
no. Nobody cares about the paper. No, yeah. I was like, okay, that's it. And now what? But
Weren't you doing at least shows on the side or some group theater outside of school, or you weren't doing any of that?
yeah, luckily, when I was in the third year, I guess, I found a group of friends and we found a theater company. Because, you know, the field, making a living as an actress is not easy. And in Spain, it's worst because there are not, the field is not so big. So it's always the same people, and it's like it's super super hard to enter there. So we were like, okay, nobody wants to hire us, so let's do our thing. So we create this company, and after I graduated, I just focused on this company, and I was part of the organization team. And we did something that was kind of special at that time because nobody did that. That was, we created a brand new show per week. We write the scripts and we manage, we like, we had a place, like it was like a bar with a stage, and we rent the place every week, and we manage the bar, and we manage the everything. And yeah, we have like a guy that make all the scripts is the word, I don't know.
Yeah. You had a writer for the scripts.
Yeah, the writer for scripts, and we managed everything. So we wanted to create like the show was based on sketches. It was comedy, and it was like 1 hour and a half more or less. And our goal there was grabbing young people to theater, because in general young people don't go to theater because they don't care about, you know, Shakespeare or whatever. They don't care
Right.
about this. They don't feel that they can resonate with that. So the good thing about create a new show per week, it was crazy, and it was like 24/7. Yeah, it was crazy, but we can put like make jokes about whatever was happening at that time. So if some,
It's almost like Saturday Night Live. It's
yeah,
almost like a Saturday Night Live every week.
yeah, but only made by us, you know, like for,
Were you making any money doing this? You're making enough to live?
well, making enough to live because we live all together in a small apartment, like 6 people in a,
How
but
long did
this,
that last? How long did
oh
that
my
last?
god,
Because I can
they,
imagine burnout.
yeah, they are still doing it, but less, not once per week, but we were doing it once per week for 6 years, I guess.
What?
Yeah,
What?
6 year between September and June, and I end up with chronic anxiety, basically, because I was working so hard that it, and I, you know, I have a lot of energy, so it's like, okay, I can do it. And I'm this kind of person that I think I'm disconnected somewhere, like my brain from
Wow.
my body, and I can keep going, and my brain, my body is like, stop it. But I don't realize, yeah, I don't realize, and at the end I end up with a lot of anxiety, and because I have like pain in my chest, and I went to the doctor, and I was like, I have pain in my chest, I'm gonna die. And the doctor told me, no, you have anxiety, you need to stop. I was like 47 kilos, skinny as you can,
You
you
just
cannot
stopped. You just
imagine.
stopped. You just didn't. You weren't even hungry at that point. You're just so.
Yeah. Yeah, but
So you did that for 6 years.
yeah, in total. So after graduate was, I guess, 3 years, and before, like, I did that at university too. So in total was 6 year, but after
But
my
3 years after you
graduation, three.
graduated.
Yeah, I think so. And at the end, at the very beginning, we like I earned, okay, I could survive with 400 euros, and that's it, and eat a lot of potatoes. But
Yeah.
after, yeah, suddenly we need to change the place, and the place was more expensive, so I couldn't afford, like my life in general. So I started to have side jobs. So I started to do this, and at the same time I worked as a waitress. This is, you need to be a waitress if you are an actor, you know what I mean,
Of
or an
course,
actress.
that's
It's
a rite
like,
of
of course.
passage right there. It has to revolve around food somewhere.
Yeah, and I was too, when I, in fact, when I was an waitress, was when I, after a very long day, I told myself I need to find something that, another side job that is more sustainable, because I'm gonna die. So yeah, suddenly I'm gonna die, so I need to find something, and something that I love. So I started to, try things randomly. But yeah, and after that I was also game master in escape room. This was very funny.
Oh my goodness.
Very random jobs. I'm like Homer Simpson.
Oh my. But you're realizing after 3 years that this isn't going to happen, or at this point you're starting to realize I haven't been found. I've been doing this. The lifestyle's too stressful. I need to find something more stable, and it's time to make some more money. What do you do? Like, what do you fall into next? How do you solve that problem? Because now we're talking what, 2013, 13,
It
14?
was it was no, it was later because I finished university at 2014. So I think it
Okay,
was 2017.
17. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, more or less.
Okay.
And at that time I was like working as a waitress, and I couldn't afford like stop everything, and because, well, first of all I need to find something. So I was like, okay, it's true that I had this need. My intellectual brain wants this thing. I was tired about, I like this, I don't like this, because in arts everything is subjective, and I don't
Sure.
like that. You know what I mean? Like, I love certainty. I love to, this is the solution and that's it, and I
The
feel
black and
good
white
about
of
it.
it all. Yeah,
Yeah.
my business partner screams at me all the time that there are shades of gray. And I've had to learn that, because black and white is very clean in your head.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. So I miss that. I was like, I'm tired of subjectiveness. I'm tired about it. I'm enough. So I knew that I wanted to do something more mm, logical, or I don't know, more scientific. And my brother-in-law was a programmer. So I started, this was like something, a field that I never think about it. And when I saw the things that he was doing, I was like, this is this is sounds fun. And yeah, yeah, I don't know, because I love maths. And I think it's because I had a teacher when I was like in the first years of school, like 7, 8 years old. I had a teacher that was the best teacher in my entire life. Was a person, this kind of teacher that is very passionate about what is teaching, and just you need to love the subject, because it's like he's sending to you this passion. And I think that thanks to him, I love maths. So I was like, there are maths there, and I love logical problems. I love to figuring things out. And this was something that I was doing also with my theater company.
Did you like go over there? You went over to their apartment and you saw him working or something? Like, how did you see what he was working on?
Yeah, we were in their house, and I saw, like, code and things. I started asking, like, I'm very curious, and it was like, So I thought, well, maybe, because I started a lot of courses. I did a course of Japanese. You know what I mean? Like, I love to study things, like things. I love to learn things. So this is like my superpower. I love to learn. So I was like, I can try. And I asked him for, advice, like, maybe I can try this. I want to try this. What? Because I search in Google, and it's like, if you have no idea.
Yeah, yeah. It's impossible.
Yeah, yeah. So he like designed for me a path. He told me that he thought that I would never do that or finish it, but
Oh,
I yeah, because a lot of people starts but never ends.
sure,
And
sure.
and I took very seriously this thing. I took the first course, that was the Rice University course with the algorithmic thinking and all of that thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
just started on my free time, because I couldn't afford drop everything and
Sure.
start like a boot camp or whatever. I couldn't do it because I want to pay my bills. So I did that on my free time. And yeah, when I left the waitress job, and I started with the game developer, well, the developer, game master thing. And there I drive my computer, and at the same time I was working, I was
Oh,
like
you
doing my
had a lot
extras.
of
Yeah.
time because somebody's in the room, and unless they need help, you're basically sitting there all day.
Yeah, and the game is always the same. I had to manage two games at the same time, so I had two computers. And when I I did this for I don't know how many times, but a lot. So when I just know very well the games and the group was experienced in this kind of game, they didn't need help. So I was like, yeah, I can do my course. Yeah, and I took advantage of this.
That's brilliant. You leveraged all that time that could have just been wasted, and you learned. So how long did you do that for? Was that like I want to know how you get from there
To a job.
to yeah, feeling like I can apply for a job. Yeah, exactly.
I think I was two, almost 3 years learning because I didn't have time, like a lot of time. So I use all my free time, all weekends, and I think 2 years, 3 years more or less. And when I apply for my first job, it wasn't because I felt that I was ready, because I felt that I wasn't ready. It was because my brother-in-law was pushing me. It's I call him sensei. Sensei? Sensei pushing me like you need to do it. You are gonna I know that you can learn. You can learn working because this is I think this is my thing. I don't have fear of trying things. Even if I don't know how to do it, I just try things. I'm very creative in this aspect. So this make me like for me it's easy to take something that I don't know and just try and learn. I learn faster because I try things, basically. And the job was as after these fundamentals of computer things, I studied like small courses like command line, HTML, CSS, something I don't remember, so React.
See, I was going to ask you, you need projects to work on as you're learning. So I'm kind of curious, what are some of the projects that you created for yourself in those 3 years that really got you to a point where you could pass an interview?
Yeah, well, this first course had like a project each week. So every week you need to create a project. And I remember, for example, my first project and was like a lot of games with Canvas and Python. My first project was doing a Pong, the typical 80s game. And at that time, I didn't even know what is an array. And I did a Pong. I was like, oh my God, this is working. And you can, yeah, there were a lot of games and mainly games. I think that this course was very well designed to keep you, like,
But this was self-study. You had to be disciplined to do
yeah,
this. It would have been very easy for you to just say, I'm not in the
of
mood
course,
today,
of
and that
course.
go a week and that go a month. So the fact that you were able to stay focused and driven for 3 years is amazing onto itself.
I played violin when I was a child. This makes you a strong person because you are used to do it again, and do it again, and this makes you very disciplined. And I don't know. I feel that I I trust that I will get to the point that I will be able to program. I was like, I can do it. And in the future, this is my goal. I'm a very goals person. Like, this is my goal. And I just need to keep practicing and keep practicing. And if you stop, you will never get there. So,
So your brother-in-law pushes you to apply for
for a
a
front
couple
end
jobs, a front-end job,
one that was close
one
to
job.
my close to my house, there
Did
was a
he find
company.
it? He found the job, or you found the job?
No, he listened because of somebody that he knows. I don't remember that there was a company close to my house. It was crazy. That was a company from here, a Spanish company, but they are like a digital product studio. So they create basically MVPs for the US and Canada. So they were acquired by the I don't remember, like the Tiny Capital, I guess. Well, they're like a small studio, but very cool studio that creates MVPs for good customers in the US. And they had they had a, well, first I wrote a letter, an email to ask for, I want to learn with a real team. I want to learn how to work with a team. So please, I want to be an intern. But they told me at the very beginning, they were like, oh, okay, yes. But then they realized that I didn't have a formal, like a real school, yeah, or education behind me. It's like, it's not legal. I cannot hire you because you are self-taught. So I cannot like put in a paper, this is in an internship of this school.
Oh,
You know what I
got you,
mean? Like
got
you
you. The
need to be linked.
internships are, yes. Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
So I
okay,
was like,
okay.
I was very sad. But this is where my sensei has like, he told me, okay, they don't want you as an intern, but they have an open position as a front end. And I was like, come on. I didn't want to present to this open position because it's like, they don't want me as an intern. So why in this world they are gonna hire me? It doesn't make sense. And he was like, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. And I did it. And I present like this. It was creating a small website, like mainly front end, and I did it with pure CSS and HTML and JavaScript, like very very basic, because I didn't even know a lot about that. And but well, I'm very detail oriented, so I spent a lot of time doing it, and I did a very well explained README. I think this was the
The
key.
key.
The
Mm.
README with all the things that I do, why I took these decisions, what are the next steps, what are the things that I think could be better. So I spent a lot of time with the README. And after a week, the guy mm, uh, told me like, come here. And I was like, they are going to ask me a lot of things and I don't know nothing. Because I really didn't know things. You know, I was like, I'm not ready for this. But well, I was there. So that's it. Keep going. And yeah, they hired me. And I remember that day like sweating, but they hired me like as a fake intern. Like I was an intern, but not an intern in my papers.
But you were getting paid. You were getting paid.
A few, a very bad salary, but well, it was like for 3 months. Like, okay, you're gonna be here 3 months in like an internship, and if we like you, we can hire you. But it's not like I was paid, but not a lot.
But enough to survive for 3 months.
Yeah,
Enough
three
to,
months. Yeah,
enough
they
to,
gave me the
yeah, yeah,
opportunity. So yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
In fact, the guy was like, I will bet on you. I don't know why. I I want to bet on you. And I was like, yes. Because the guy asked me things and I was like, I don't know about that, but I can learn. All the time. This is my answer, default answer. I don't know, but
Well,
I can learn.
I can learn.
And yeah, people trust me. So okay. They hire
And
me,
then your
and
brother-in-law was like, "Hey, I told you, I told you, I told
and
you."
since then, every time that my brother-in-law told me something about my tech career, I was like, okay, I trust you. Because thanks to you, I got this job. And the first day of work at that first job, I was like shaking because yeah, sweating, shaking. Oh, and the guy that hired me wasn't there, was on vacation. Yeah, and a girl received me, and she didn't know that I like my level of knowledge, and she told me like, well, here we work with React. And in my brain, I don't know what React is. I didn't say that, but I was like, React, okay.
Sure, no
And
problem.
yeah, and she told me like, did you work? Have you worked with React before? And I was like, no, but I can learn. And
I
she
can learn.
laughed like, it's not so easy. And I, yes, it is. You just keep going and practicing and making up.
Wow.
Oh,
So you're
tough
still at
times.
that same company today?
No,
No. Okay. Okay. So how long were you there for?
I was there for 3 years.
Wow. So that gets you to 2020.
Yeah, well, I think almost 3 years because I started at the end of 2019.
Oh, you started at 19.
Yeah,
Okay.
before the pandemic, just a
Okay.
few months
Right.
before.
Before.
And I was into and I went to the office like for 4 months, and after that, bam, COVID. So I moved to my house. But yeah, I spent there. I started as an intern, and I left the company as a team lead. It was so nice. But yeah, because we were like we worked like small teams, and we always use the same stack. So once I learned how the stack works, and I did, I have a lot of energy, so I used to work in 3 4 projects at the same time, and it was like and we were 3 4 people teams, and we have like the very short deadlines, so they need somebody to just calm the other people, like, come on guys, we can do it, we can delete this part, this is not important, whatever. Somebody to just figuring things out.
Did anybody ever come up to you, Rita, and just say, Rita, slow it down, okay? You're making us all look bad. Stop.
Oh my god. But the first 3 months were a nightmare for me because, well, I was like spending a lot of time, a lot of hours there just to absorb all of this new information. And I had this feeling at the very beginning because all the team was very young in general, but all the team was like talking about technology and about things. And I was in the middle, like, I don't get it. I don't understand anything you're saying.
Like another language. Yeah. Whole
Yeah,
nother
talking
language.
other 100%. And after some, well, more than a year, I realized that the thing was not that they had all the knowledge, it's just they just faking. I mean, people is not, I feel that people is not used to show being vulnerable in general in tech. So when I don't know something, I don't know. For me it's like kind of easy. I don't have this ego. And I feel that some people was like silent, and when they don't understand something, they just don't say something. They don't understand. And at the very beginning for me, this was hard because I thought that they understand everything, and I was like, this is not possible, because if frameworks are showing up, coming up every day, how you with 22 years old, younger than me, can know everything? It doesn't make sense, It's like there is something odd here. So yeah, this is my goal in tech, is to, I think it's not possible, but I'm fighting to make the people show their feelings. And it doesn't care if you don't have all the answers, even if you have 10 years of experience. You you cannot have all the answers, and it's okay. It's okay. There's no shame on that. And I think that this is healthier for us. So
It is healthier. I tell people all the time, if you pair program with me, you'll hear me say 20 times a day, I don't know enough. I don't know enough. I don't know enough. Let's learn this because I don't know enough. Right? You ask me to how to, I don't know enough. I say it all the time.
it's a relief. you don't need to know it. It's like there are so many knowledge out there, and if you say that you don't know, maybe another person can teach you the thing. If you don't say anything, you will never learn. So it's just,
You must have had a moment 4 or 5, 6 months in where you realized you understand what's going on now. You must have had that one moment where you just sat back and you went, "Oh my God, I finally feel like I know what's going on here." Right? You had to have that moment.
yeah, I have that moment, but I think that now I know I can understand more. Of course, I can speak about tech and speak about a lot of things, but I know more the things that I don't know. So I'm more, like I understand how vast and huge is the field, and you can learn so many things. There's like, oh my God, there is a lot of things to learn. But this is the thing that I love the most about tech, that is very dynamic and you need to be learning all the time.
I get a sense, for me, there's two types of people. I'm going to draw a very thick line here. There are people that are want to know 20% of a lot of things, or 80% of a few things. I'm the 80%er. All right, that's kind of who I am. My business partner is a 20%er. All right, how do you classify yourself? Are you do you want to go really deep and into something, or is it 20%? And at 20%, you're very functional. You can do a lot. It's not that you're not possible in working in the tech. It's just you don't need to go any deeper because you'd rather use your brain to learn 20% of something else.
Yeah, I think that the thing is, like, I'm like a puppy, like excited puppy, you know, like a dog. So for me, it's very difficult to only focus in one thing because I feel FOMO. Like, oh, but there is another thing there. I have a bass, and I don't know how to play it
I get a sense you're a 20%er. I get the sense you're the 20%er,
because it's
which is
fun,
good.
novelty.
Yeah, it's good. There's no right or wrong there. It's just like personalities, you know. All right, so you're there 3 years, right? You're there during COVID. What happens that uh, what happens that you find your next gig? What's going on?
Well, I was like feeling comfortable there because I was working with the same stack all the time. So I knew how to, I built, it was fun to learn because I built very different kind of apps and it was very fun. But I felt that I wanted to learn backend or other things. For me, backend was like a black hole there and I didn't know, and I thought that, I think that if you want to be a good, for example, if you choose this path, you want to be a good front ender, you need to know something about backend, or it's better for you because you can understand what's the thing that you can ask them, or if there are two different teams. So I started learning a free course in my free time, like the Rails course, because I was like, okay, maybe Rails, there is something that you can build front end and back end. It's easier for me to start there. And I love it. And suddenly, one friend of my brother-in-law was in Topi, in the startup where I'm currently working at, and they were starting the startup, and they were looking for people. And he reminds, like, a long time ago, he was talking to my brother-in-law. A long time ago, you speak with me about somebody. He reminds my story, and he was like, "This girl wants to learn. I think this is a good match." Yeah, because I think there were like very, very experienced programmers at the very beginning of the topic. The CTO, I think the CTO is not the CTO now, but was the CTO the first years. This is Ernesto Jimenez, is a Go expert. I think you met in
Yeah, that
in
name's
some
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
tall guy, and they this friend of my brother-in-law asked if she wants to do the we have an open position for more junior people because they they have like everybody there 15 years of experience. So, and at the same time I was like, I was comfortable in my current job, but I was the almost the most experienced one there, and I didn't like it because if I the person who knows the most here,
Yeah. You're not
no,
learning anymore.
yeah, yeah. So I was looking for, and I wanted also to start working in English because was something that I this is one of my goals in the future too, to move abroad, and maybe I would live in, I don't know, Japan or the US.
A loft in New York City.
Or the New York City. So one of my goals at that time was I was studying English too, self-taught English too. Everything self-taught. Yeah. For this reason, I make up sometimes some words, but nobody cares. And so I made the test to join Topi, and I passed it. Yay! So, yeah, and I started there, and the team the team was awesome. Like people who has, I don't know, 15 years of experience, who work in games, in front end, in back end, in everything. And the good thing is that they told me you can learn backend here. So, and I was like, yeah, this is the thing that I wanted to do. And after joining Topi, in 2 months, I was coding in backend. I was like, yes.
But that was Python. So they're using Python on the back end for a lot of their stuff, you said.
Yeah. mm, in at Topi, I started with Go, and I never worked with this kind of um, low level language. For me, it's very low level. And for example, for me, pointers was like, what is that? Oh my god!
That's
So
complicated stuff when you
yeah,
first see it.
it's
It
complicated
is.
stuff.
It super is.
Yeah, but I started, to be honest. This is my way of learning. Is like do things first and learn the theoretical part later. I don't know if it's a good way to do it, but it's my way. So when I said I started to work on the back end in 2 months, I didn't was like knowing what it was doing. It was like I just took, okay, a simple task. I love to do that. I take a simple task and I see the code base, and it's like, okay, look for something that is similar and start reading. And I start like copy pasting things, like this makes sense, this, like creativity. 100% creativity, everything in red, everything is not even compiling. And after that, but it makes sense for me, it makes sense, it's not just copy pasting, it's like reading the code and trying to understand what is doing that. And after, when I have everything like for me working, I ask a more senior person, like, let me explain to you my rationale behind this. And I started to explain, I did this because of that, and I did this because of that. And then he told me, like, okay, you cannot do this way because this doesn't work like that. And he explains me the thing. So this explanation sticks in my brain instantly because I was thinking about the subject before. You know what I mean? Is if I'm, for example, shadowing or painting, and the other person is doing things, this will not stick in my head. I need to do the things first and then realize after the explanation why this is not the right way to do it, and what is the right way to do it.
It's a great strategy. It's a great strategy because you get to do that review and then you get to kind of see something real and practical that you did as opposed to everything being theory. I think it's a great strategy. That's awesome.
Yeah, and step by step, I I learn and understand more things. So the first year I was working mainly in the backend, but not understand very well why things were working sometimes. But for example, right now, I think that these last 6 months, I started to okay, I'm I'm more under control now. But I think that this is something that you need to at the very beginning to use this strategy. You need to be comfortable with the uncertainty, and this is hard. Like you be being comfortable in the not comfortable zone. You know what I mean? Like you you need to think you don't need to understand 100% of the things. The things will come later, and you will understand step by step. Just keep going, and you will understand in the future. Because I saw a lot of people that is blocked because of that, because they try to learn backend, for example, like in a work, I mean working, not in a course, and they just need the whole code. They see the whole code base and it's like, I cannot understand everything, so block they are blocked.
Yeah. They shut down. It's all about baby steps.
Yeah,
So you get
so
overwhelmed.
yeah, you get overwhelmed. So for me it's like, understand that you will not understand everything, and it's fine. It's like a game. It's like a game. It's the same. And we are not, you know, we are not saving people or operating the open heart. It's like nobody's gonna die. There are pull requests. There are people that can review your code, so you can fail. It's part of the game. It's no shame in that.
So this is why I tell a lot of people to watch you were watching the Ultimate Go video. That's something that you can watch I tell people watch it every 4 months. Do 4 months of work and then go back. And you'll pick up a bunch of stuff that you didn't get before. And then do another 4 months and watch it one more time. And then you'll pick up another 10%. There's a lot there. There's a lot to learn, depending again how deep you want to go into in any subject. But that's fascinating. I love this story. This is an amazing story. And now you're a Topi and everything's good right now. You're getting your hands dirty everywhere. So that's absolutely fantastic. If you're starting to kind of think about the future, I know you're really happy at Topi and there's still a lot for you to accomplish there. So we're not talking about tomorrow, but do you have sort of in your head the next place, the next step in the ladder that you're trying to? I heard you say you'd like to try to work maybe internationally or work outside of Spain. But is there anything else that you kind of have in your head as a goal, sort of for your next step here in your career?
Yeah, I think that my plan is to have my base here, like buy a house that is so difficult in Spain. Oh my God. So have something here, like a fixed place to put all my instruments and all my stuff, because I have a lot of stuff. And then just move abroad and spend, I don't know if years of months, but I want to explore another countries. And I would love to move to the US, for example, to make my English more fluent in perfection. I am a perfectionist. I think that you maybe think that I'm not, because I'm saying all the time that I'm making up things, but I love to learn things and make it perfect.
Your English to me is really well. Now, what also might be helping me, because I've heard this before, is being in Miami for the last 30 years. I have no problem hearing English with a Spanish accent. I don't know why, but I process that incredibly well. So there hasn't been one word at all. Now my wife's amazing. She didn't start learning English till she was like 22, and she left Colombia, and she speaks with no accent.
my god, this is my goal. This is my goal, but it's so hard for me because if I, for example, if I think the word, I study music, so my ears are trained. So I realize that I'm not in the tone, in the right tone, and it's like, oh, I don't like it. But I'm so impulsive that I cannot think before speak. So it's just, there is no filter there. And this is so bad to speak language because in Spanish people talk faster, super fast. So when I'm speaking English, I try to speak as faster as I do in Spanish, and I cannot do it. It's not possible. It's not possible. And sometimes I make some mistakes. When I hear them, it's like I know that this is not the right way to say it, but I was not thinking. It's like just talking. It's hard.
But so to be fair, she doesn't speak with the accent. But if she gets a little riled up or like I'm in trouble, her English, I call it her English starts to break, and I'll be going, baby, your English is breaking. And then she'll either come back or she's like, that's it, fast forward. And she might go into full Spanish on me. And I'll just be like, thank God I have no idea what you're saying right now.
Facts. When I'm angry, my accent becomes more the north of Spain. There
Yeah,
is something there.
it's, it's funny. It's funny. It's funny. All right. We're right here at the edge of time. This is a great story. I love this. I really appreciate you coming on today and telling us because it really isn't a conventional sort of story breaking into tech. And it's really hard to find that first job. And you did it basically self-studying for 3 years. And then having somebody, thank you, brother-in-law, pushing you to put that resume in. My son is 21, and he's finally like, Dad, I think I want to start writing code. Graduated high school, didn't want to go to college, been doing miscellaneous jobs, and he sends me this message, and I'm like, all right, let's see if he still talks about this in 2 days. And sure enough, he calls me back up in 2 days, and I said, let me see if he. And another 2 days later, it's like a week, and I'm like, damn, he might be serious. So I got him some stuff that he can self study on. Uh, but until I heard your story, I always felt like that was just an impossible path without some formal education. And you've just now made me realize that you can do it without the formal education. So, one, thank you. That's amazing. And it's a story I'm going to be telling my son too, because if he puts the time in like you did, uh, and it's going to take a couple of years, then you can get to really where you are once you get that first job. After that, it's all about people seeing how capable you are, right? And doing it.
Yeah. Keep going, keep practicing, and keep learning. And that's it. This is the key, discipline. And a good attitude. I think that a good attitude is.
And then I wonder now, after hearing your story, the little videos you do, which I'm always excited when a new one comes out. Is that is that something you do kind of just to keep in touch with the artistic side of yourself?
Yeah, because when I started in programming, I was really focused on that because it takes you a lot of time to learn everything. And I just stopped to do acting, and I miss that. I miss it, like acting. It was like something that was created to fulfill my need of, create some characters. And there is a thing that I have the perfect team. Why? Because my boyfriend is a professional at video editing and visual effects.
Oh, yeah, the videos are so well done. The effects are so clean.
Of
Like,
course, because
yeah.
he's a professional. Yeah, he has like his
Oh,
own film production company, I think is the name. Is his job. So he's very used to tell stories and they created like series, comedy series and things like that, and films and blah blah blah. So we were talking like, I miss acting, and you know how to edit well, so maybe we can do something together. And it's like kind of activity that we can do together in the weekends, and we just have fun. So for us, it's, it was just for fun. And I didn't expect that nobody cares about the videos. I just uploaded, why not? But I wanted to do it for fun. And it's very funny to see us working in the videos, because I made the jokes because he don't know nothing about programming, and I was like, we need to do something about regex, and he's like, why regex is funny? I don't get it. Like, yes, regex or course error. And my boyfriend's like, I don't get why course is funny. and,
That's
and
funny.
after that, yeah, I create like the joke, and after that we discuss like how to make this more visual appealing, more perfect, make the storytelling better. And he's like, no, we can create like this kind of shot, and then there's some
So he's
things
directing
story.
it too.
Yeah,
I,
so
I'm
we
I'm gonna I'm gonna smile more now when I watch him because I know it's you and your boyfriend, like something that you're doing together. To me, it makes it even more special. It's nice when you can do something with your partner like that, um, and have that collaboration and have some fun.
yeah, it's
That's
so
amazing.
fun.
I love that.
Yeah,
Now,
it's a perfect
I
combination
imagine.
of skills.
No, 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 for sure. And you have the training as the actress, so you kind of see that. But the video editing and it's flawless. It's good. It's perfect. Now, I wonder, you must start to have more free time now with this job for sure. You're not working 80 hours a week. Have you ever thought about maybe doing a play or something in the community, like the community playhouse? Not like full time, but maybe you just say, you know what, they're doing a play on XYZ. I'm going to go, I'm going to try out. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, well, I'm not close to that. I did small things like, but right now I'm only doing something if I feel that I want to do it. Like if, if there is something special and something that is interesting to me. But it's not like the old times that you need to do whatever to survive. So
No, no. You just know that they're doing this particular play and you want that, you want to try to get that role. You're doing that though.
yeah, but there is not so many things right now. I'm not very looking for that, not at the moment, because to be honest, I'm always in the middle of 100 different things. And my it's crazy. I don't know how, but I'm always there. And the last year I was, well, I was getting my driving license 32 years later. I'm here, but well, I did it. And I did my first talk in a conference.
Nice.
And
What talk
this
was
for
that? What conference?
the conference is well, it's in the north of Spain. It's Pamplona Software Crafters. And and well, I did it in the in one in the in South America, but like online, not in person. And surprise, surprise, my what my talk is about, how learn to learn.
Ah, I got to get a link to that. We got to find that
Yeah,
talk.
because
So
I love it.
that means now I'm going to get you to give a go talk. That's it. Now I got you on the. We're going to get you at GopherCon EU, and we're going to get you to do a go talk.
Maybe in 2 3 years when I
Yeah, not this
understand
year, not this year. Next
100%.
year, not
Yeah,
this
but
year, next year.
this year for me is like a blank page, because it's like, okay, I already accomplished talk. That was like very improvised thing, because they wrote me an email, and I was like, do you want to give a talk? And I was like, I don't have any talk, but okay. And I create one.
Nice.
So, and this year is just started, but well, it's starting very good with my first
Yeah,
podcast in English.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm so honored
accomplished.
to. I get to be a part of that check. That's awesome.
Yeah, so maybe I don't know. This year is a blank page. I can do new things. Maybe some more things on acting.
All right, we are completely out of time. This has been amazing. Thank you for. It's amazing how fast the time goes, right? We're having these conversations. All right, so a couple things here. Um, if anybody wants to reach out after listening to the show, we'll put this on the show notes, but what's the best way somebody to sort of reach out and ping you?
Well, I have a website and you can find my email there. It's rita.codes, so very easy. And Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, but maybe better by email because
We got it. Okay. Thank you again. This was. I'm gonna call my son. I think right after the show and tell him
I'm so glad.
it's gonna happen, son. You just gotta be like Rita. You gotta just put your head down. All right. This is Bill Kennedy and Rita Codes signing off, and hope to see everybody again real soon.